Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Life Theories with your hosts, Diana from Trailblazers of the Universe, Jay from Journey of a Whitefeather, and me, Sarah from Big Soul Healing. Today, we are going to be talking to you guys about the big shift that's happening with the full moon and the energy of letting go, and all of the things that are encompassed with the energies of the retrograde happening, the new moon or the full moon, and just letting go of all the heaviness that cannot come with you into the life that you are trying to step into and you're trying to build for the better. So let's get into it, guys. How's
Is it happy
everybody
birthday
doing?
for us anyway? Is it 50 episodes?
Would
Is
this
it
would be this will be the 49th because I've been splitting them into two, so this will be the
okay?
49th actually. The next one will be the 50th. Maybe we can do something special for the 50th.
Yeah, let's plan that. That's exciting.
Yeah, I can't believe that many episodes, and there's really more. I mean, technically that's just what I posted, but you guys did some. You and Cortez were doing it before, so there are probably definitely more than 50, and I'll post some of those up too. We'll get the older ones up too. We'll
Yeah,
do
got to get a couple more.
Well, that's
So,
definitely something to celebrate once all
so
of this letting go happens.
Yeah, we made it to 50.
letting
We're all still
go,
here. We're still here.
Yeah.
letting go, and also stuff coming into your powers. Like you basically, there's so much. I'm always a lover of Neptune retrogrades and Neptune because everything comes out of nowhere, and couple of revelations for me is just basically number one. I think the main thing is I found out I'm scared of success. There we go. Or when I get someone, I go, fuck, what am I going to do with it? Well, or just go, hang on a minute. But that comes down to and big shout out to Karen Mendel, who did self-sabotage. I learned a lot from her. Self-sabotage, trauma-based opinions and thoughts. It's just got to, and then comes into what we learned from the shadow work, which is what I'm doing, and course coming soon, ladies and gentlemen. There, free plug. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That you got a choice to either go with it or not, and that's it. End the story. That's what Greg would say to me. He goes, okay, great, you acknowledged it. Now let's walk the shadow or walk whatever you do, and get yourself to a point where you're going to enjoy yourself because you always have. There you go. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that's pretty much along the same lines. Like, just let it go, acknowledge it. Once you've acknowledged it, what are you going to do with it? I've been treating my shadow a lot differently than I have in the past recently. I'm meeting the energy with my compassionate mother, basically. So I'm embodying what it would be to be the most compassionate, loving, understanding, caring mother. And I'm embodying that energy and meeting my shadow with that. And rather than beating myself up or, getting upset with myself and sort of like triggering the shadow to kind of run amok, which sometimes I was doing without realizing it. And when I brought in the mothering energy to it all, it really started to shift for me, and it really started to get to a point where everything started to fall into place. For the past year on my TikToks, there's been I actually stopped doing it because I was like, this is silly. I'm not even gonna get there. Hold on a second. I'm gonna sneeze. Energy release. So I was posting these videos on my TikTok about like trying to wake up at 6 a.m. and trying to start a new morning routine. And for the longest time, I was like, well, why can't I do this? Why can't I was the number one question I was asking myself. I just made a gentle tweak to that, which was, what's stopping me? And instead of asking, why can't I, and getting in that cycle of feeling self-defeated, it's giving my power back by saying, well, what's stopping me, and how can we remove those blocks? And starting to get into things, the letting go process like that, and the shifting process like that, and meeting it with light and compassion. And it's really helped. And now since I started doing that about 3 weeks ago, just that gentle tweak, of like the thought that was going through my head, I am now waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning super easily today. I went to bed last night, like could have stayed up last night, had the house to myself basically, because Willer fell asleep. And I could have just done whatever I wanted in whatever room of the house and it would have been fine. I would have just had my space. I was like, no, you know what? I'm just going to go to sleep. And something in me decided that that was the best choice. And I didn't feel pressure. I didn't feel like going to bed now is what I should be doing. It just felt like this is what I want to do. And it happened easily instead of happening with force.
I think what happened with I take a lot of that because the last, especially probably reference to the full moon. When was that? That was last week, right?
Yeah.
But a couple of weeks before that, everything was starting to change up. You know, you go through what you go through, but you know, I basically going and it's the easiest way to describe it is the universe is basically pulling me towards the way I always want to be. Like I'm looking at it and go, what are you really enjoying? What are you supposed, not even what are you supposed to do, it's just where you're going to go. Your energy goes. And that's where, when I went to WA and did that, obviously I think I'm more in balance over there because I'm 2 hours behind the rest of the bloody world, which is great. But taking yourself out and understanding that what you actually love. Like I still enjoy the teaching game, but I don't enjoy all the bullshit that comes with it. So how do I fix that? And then, you know, I'm looking at all, you know, then things just come up and they go, and as I said with Neptune, they things just are coming up and yeah, like I'm doing the Shadow Warrior course. You know, I've pretty much written, I'm sitting there going, oh, what am I doing? I'm double checking. Nah, you've done it. Shut up and frigging get out there and do it. And it's taken a while, a big thing for me to put my face on TikTok. I've never done it. I've never come forth with what I've done. I've done Journey for Whitefeather stuff, but I never promoted it. So it's basically having to be that person I want to be. I know exactly I've got to be, if I'm going to be a proper public speaker in that way and motivational speaker or whatever, it's coming out on these social media platforms and going from there. So what do you reckon, Di?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is stepping outside of our comfort zone. Just with the shit that's going on, it's like what used to work. Hold on, let me make sure my thing is working. Oh, okay, sorry, it wasn't working for a sec. What used to work, like, isn't working anymore. You know, like our responses to things, the way we communicate, our economy. I mean, the diet, right? The like what we're eating. Like, for me, it's like shows, music. I mean, I know we talked about this before, but it's just even more clear. It's like magnifying even more, like, what is just not in alignment. It's so, like, obvious. It's like right in your face. And it's just, but all this is outside of our comfort zone. So, I mean, especially we've been doing things a certain way for a while. We're spotting the things a certain way, certain habits, a certain way of living. It can be a big, like, rude awakening for people. And they're like, you know, and especially the people that aren't as aware or not, or just starting to go through awakening, they're like, what? I've been doing this whole time, you know, kind of like zombied out or like just kind of in a routine, you know, you get stuck in your routines and the matrix routines and different, but now we're being forced to live a different way. I mean, look at all the disasters that go on the planet. You know, I think Mother Earth is like responding, you know, that it's very clear that we're not, regardless of who's causing what or what's causing what, it's Mother Earth is responding to the way we've been living our energy together as a collective. That's just one example. It just we're being, we have to, and just living more from the heart space, all the separation, everything. It's very clear the forces that separate and everything. And just like, it's just, there's so many different levels to this. And then we have our own personal journeys. We have our relationships. We have our karmic, what's it called? Energy, right, with people, whether it's our family members, that's being highlighted now. So some of these things we have worked on, we should give ourselves credit. We have come far. This stuff's not easy, but there's more levels to everything. It's not just like one level. It's like Sarah was talking about some of the ancestral stuff that's coming up, and it's just so many different levels to it. And now for me, it's like communicating a different way, responding a different way, just a new way of life for a lot of people. And a lot of people are going to be resistant to that. A lot of people don't want to be unplugged. A lot of people want to stay in their own routine. And even if it's miserable, even if it's suffering, they feel a sense of security in it because that's what they've always known. So, yeah. Some, yeah,
Well,
just
it's living in
some.
the ego, isn't it? It's living in the ego,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like, it's
Well,
the
familiarity
shifting
is comfortable.
Yeah.
it's shifting consciousness. It's huge.
You're
Like
pulling the
shifting
rug
consciousness.
underneath you're pulling the rug underneath a lot of people's feet. Now there's some, I mean, but even for people that are, you know, have been doing our work and we are more aware of stuff, it's still a lot for, like, even for me it's intense. Like I'm yeah, I'm just seeing what it ain't. I have to do things a different way. I have no problems doing things a different way, but it's all the residual things. These are usually deep-rooted wounds, though, and that's a problem. These things they're in your energy for what?
Subconscious
Yeah.
autopilot shit.
And in your
Well, I'll
body,
tell you
it's stored in
what.
your body, like we talked about it being with Solomon, it being in your, being stuck in your body. So, like I said, I'm trying to like get more fit, lose weight. I feel the need to shed more and stuff, but I can feel as I'm losing it, I'm almost like scared to like release because I can feel there's trauma that's coming as I'm like trying to exercise more and everything, and like it's trying to release, and it's like it's kind of scared. It's like, oh man, I've always held on to this, I've identified with this, so like you're trying to take it away from me. Yeah, it's weird, right?
Yeah,
I
it
guess you're
becomes part
fighting,
of your
like-
identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be part of my identity because I know it was programmed, and I'm fighting the program now. It's basically He-Man v Skeletor. Now it's come to a point where I've got everything I needed and everything I've worked for and everything I've ever wanted, and then you've got that bloody program. I know where it came from, and you have to forgive it. It's hard because you're fighting and you go, you just got to try and, I'm just trying to let it go because I know exactly where it came from. It's pissed me off. And it's a case of, you know, when the old self comes in and you can feel the old self, you really get defensive and really want to try and block it. I mean, there's a forgiveness and all that stuff, that's fine, but still you have a reaction to go, fucking why the fuck did this happen, you know, why? But then my friend said, because you've gone through it to teach others how to get through it, because I didn't realise how deeply traumatised and how deeply fucked up I was. Excuse the language there, people, but once you have a realisation of how deeply fucked up you are and how it affects your life, your relationships, and how you attract people, until you actually wake up, you can sit there and go, oh, that happened to me, that'd be okay. But let's be real, you're going to be a bit frustrated with it. So you have to, I've been told, and I've wanted to just express it in a way and go, right, that's the way it is. And remember that feeling that you don't want to go that way again. And you just say, right, okay, here's the cliff. You've got to do the free fall now. Now it's time for you to free fall and really enjoy what you're doing.
And not everybody can come with you. I think that's, for me, a lot of people, they're showing their true colors, or people you're friends with for a long time, or just people you thought were a certain way, or even newer people I've met. I'm seeing different sides because that veil is thin. It's like our third eyes are opening even more. I'm seeing shit. I'm like, what? How did I not see this before? This person's acting the same way, but for some reason I'm seeing it in a different light because your awareness is expanding and your consciousness, and it's like, oh. And it's like, but you can see the patterns. You can see what led to attracting these certain things, and everything's interconnected. But it's kind of crazy. And then it has you questioning your own intuition. Then you have things that are trying to cloud your intuition in the world, like what they're trying to do, everything that's trying to go on, they're trying to cloud it. So you're like, am I going crazy, or is this real? But trust. I got a Reiki session last week, and her thing was, if you don't know who, her guidance, she told me, was, if you don't know who to trust yourself. And we have to keep going within, because there's all these things that are testing you. You see different sides, different people, but everyone's multidimensional. There are different truths that exist at the same time, but it's like multiple truths. But it's like, what's true for me, and what do I feel in my gut? Like what's there's so, you know, it's like, you know, like your instant reaction, and like you said last week with the body response, like your body, you know, it's really tuning into yourself more, because man, everyone has a different experience, different opinion, and they might speak a certain truth about something, but what is it for you? Like, what is true for you? You know,
we're all truth makers. Like I look at it now. All the stuff that I've said, everyone wants instant gratification, but even simply, like, I'll give you a simple example that doesn't get anyone in trouble, but or anything like that. It's basically a footy team that I follow. They drafted someone. They should have drafted this person, right? And I said straight up, this person's a spud. He's a dickhead. He's a spud. Don't pick him, right? Now everyone's going, oh, you give him a chance. Blah, blah, blah. I said, mate, he's a spud. You should have gone for this bloke. I've been proven right. And I just said to me mate one day, I go, I fucking told you from day one, and I should in fact myself, this is just basically giving an example where your first thoughts
Was right. Yeah.
was right,
Yeah.
and then your ego. Look, there's nothing wrong with bringing your ego in and saying and make a relevant, conscious thought about it. If you go a conscious thought as such, you know what I mean, like analysing it, but then you analyse yourself out of the thought that you were in. And you just got to back yourself in because there's other. You basically. Do you need to fight other idiots for your opinion? No, because that's their opinion. That's the way it is. You know, but people are because people get on social media and they're keyboard warriors. They say, "Oh, you're a fucking idiot. You know what you're talking about." But then in the end, when you are right, they shut them up and they go, "Oh yeah, that was in the past. Forget that." You get where I'm going. So that's where people's sort of self gratification comes in. But what it's taught me is basically go with your first thought and bring your ego in after I went in and had the spiritual awakening second time round. It basically says to me, back yourself in, make that conscious decision. You know, the subconscious is used there to guide you, not to hold you back. Or the ego, sorry. That's how I'm looking at it. And then you sort of work with that shadow work that you've done and realise and go, then that's when you actually enter your shadow and go, oh, hang on, I'm entering somewhere I don't want to go. And that's backing myself in some ways, you know what I mean? So you got that kind of timeline.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, just I'm having another moment of stuff happening in my brain, so I'm just listening to you while I'm also listening to
That's all right.
Crack in my brain. I had a really interesting heavy entity release session that I was not expecting. It was an ancestral trauma session, and now I've got this pop rock feeling in my brain, and it's been going on ever since, and it's really intense right now, so I do apologize, guys.
No, that's all right.
I'm trying to remember what you said. It was just
just basically into what Diana was saying as well. It's what we're doing is we're coming into our true person, and we're really shedding that old self, and we have to go through the points of. I guess a big thing is and the anti-bullshit meter that I've got, and I've been told I've got.
Yeah.
People, you'll say something, you damn well know it's the right thing, and I damn well know it. Basically what they say is that people will be exposed, and I've seen that just recently. I've gone, and you sit there and you go, you can only blame yourself for putting yourself into certain situations, and you go, what the was I doing really? And you sit there and you beat yourself up a bit, which I did a little bit. But then I look at the opportunities that I've got now, and I'm going, rightio, that brought me to here, and you got it, and you sort of like your relevant self is talking up here towards another version, not another version of yourself, but another emotion. It's like your karma is telling you, well, frustration, saying, look, you've justified, but just look, let's put this energy into here. Let's get this happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Definitely been feeling a lot of that myself lately with choosing directionality, going with my gut response, waiting for my gut to respond so that I can make an informed decision with the information that was presented to me, either via somebody spewing garbage out their mouth or flip-flopping and changing the direction from where they were at before, and it's been really happening out of the blue. All of a sudden people will just be making these huge flips, right? And it's just about how you're going to respond to it at this point, and checking in with yourself when these situations get presented to you. And it can be really, really hard when it's an old long-lasting friendship that you've had for a long time, or a relationship you've had for a long time, and all of a sudden you start to see parts of them that you never really knew they were there, and you kind of have to check in with yourself, and you should check in with them too. And it's kind of going back to what Diana was saying about there's new ways of doing things. How are you going to communicate what you've noticed in your friend to them, or are you are you going to bring it up gently, or are you going to just gently remove yourself because it just doesn't feel right anymore? So it's about choosing the response and really leaning into what your gut is saying and what your intuition is saying about the situation, and rolling with what you get from that, and protecting yourself in that way, because there's a lot of big shifts happening right now in people, and
they're exposing themselves though, like,
yeah.
and the light is exposing the dark, and with their frequency shift, like the lower stuff is coming up. And but if you're a being of light, if you're working on yourself, you're doing more inner work, you're raising your vibration, that's going to make people feel uncomfortable that aren't. And it's not about being jealous, not having an ego. It's just
it's frequency.
It's just a frequency, and they get triggered by, it's like the trolls who respond, right? The people that are trolls, right? Their vibration's very low. They're projecting their stuff. They see you're coming there with, inspirational posts. I mean, we all dive in some darkness too. Like, my stuff isn't all love and light on my posts. Like, I mix in a little bit of everything, but like, there's still people that are just going there just to attack, because it's like you're annoying to them. It's like you're irritating. It's like, even though you're not saying anything directly to them, it's like the light irritates them. They're, it's dark. We've all been through a lot of darkness, but you have to go 100%. Through it. But we've been through, and but you want to balance your light and your darkness. I'm not all love and light all the time. I couldn't be, but like, it's some people don't want to hear the truth. Some people don't want to work on themselves, but a lot of people give you the evil. They're giving you the evil eye. They're jealous, or just like, or they just don't want to do the work. And but we can't feel bad. If I've done some work, I put in my work, I'm not going to feel bad, and I'm still going to do what I'm doing on the plane. I'm not going to let one person affect me, or however many people, haters. There's always going to be haters. Either way, just be authentic, man. At least you're being, I'd rather people, there's a quote that says, I'd rather people, what's it called, like me for who, or people hate me for who I am than like me for who I'm not, right? And I agree with that. Yeah. Like, just gotta be authentic. It's all about being authentic, and what works for you. And it's okay if something doesn't work for you anymore. Like, people are gonna vibrate out of your life, and what Sarah just said, maybe communicating with them isn't the best thing. Silence is also a good response too, because part of me, maybe we're talking about inner child stuff, right? Sometimes I want to over-explain stuff. It's a trauma response, right? I want to over-explain why you did this to me, but they know what they did. They know what they did. They
don't care.
Or they don't care.
Or exactly right.
It's taking energy from you. Even you exerting that, like sometimes telling them what they did wrong, they already know, or they don't care, or it's giving them more energy. It's actually giving them more power. Yeah. So sometimes
look at
you just gotta cut it, and you don't need to explain. You don't have to explain everything. But that's me. I always like to explain. So I'm like, dude, why do I need to explain to this person what they know what they did?
Yeah.
Let's look at it this way.
I'm in a place too, like just not over explaining, like, even when I'm apologizing to somebody.
We're going different ways, or just don't say anything. Silence is the
even
best.
Like just to let it go, and just like not, I'm sorry because this and this, and leave a string of excuses. You're just sorry, and it's not going to happen. Or just come in and just be very direct,
or I'm not sorry, and I'm just like, it just ain't working.
Or I'm just, this is the way that I feel. I don't need to explain to you why I feel this way, how I came to feel this way. I feel this way, and I'm going to leave because I don't want to keep putting my energy into this.
So you got a trauma response.
What's that?
So I say you got a trauma response, right? That's a trauma response, as far as it's a shadow trauma response, right? Because if you have to explain to someone, or are you justifying yourself because
like over-explaining? It's usually to please. It comes from a people pleaser thing, or like trying to get a validation from someone, like inner child
thing.
stuff.
Exactly. So it's all bullshit. But the worst bit is, I think, for all of us, we have this inner knowing. Like I've been proven right. I'm sitting there going, I wish I could I've just exposed you. What I guess, you put to a point where now, it has to get to a point, and that's what Greg and Michael said. It gets to a point where it absolutely rips your heart out. Like, you get hurt right by doing things. But this one that I saw on the weekend, that I go, I was damn well right. And it hurt to a point where you got to stop the hurt. If you get where I'm going, sometimes you allow the hurt. The hurt justifies the means. Whereas this one goes, I don't want to feel like this anymore because you made me feel like, not maybe, I was right. I'm not going to get the justification. I wish I could just bloody either, set you on fire, whatever you want to do, but. If you get where I'm going, I'm looking straight through you. You don't give a shit. But what's it? Is it justified? Is it justified in my life that I put my energy into? Or we'll use the word hate. I'll use the word hate. Who gives a shit? Use the word hate on the person, or do you just go, as you just said, Di? Ignore. The best way to do it is ignore it, and you're
Silence is a
100
strong
100%.
message. Silence gives a strong
100%
message.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Silence
Sometimes you
is
have to.
the greatest message that you can give someone. You're 100% right. I believe that, and then that's a
No
new
energy.
pattern that
Yeah.
that's a new pattern that we've got. I'm trying to learn. I'm nowhere near it.
It's not easy.
It's
I
like
have
taking,
some, yeah. I like to say some shit. I sometimes I want them to know that I know what they did wrong, but that's my ego talking. That's my ego's like, oh,
That's
you did me
right.
wrong. Or it's like, you betrayed me or whatever. And I want you to know that, but they know. But why do we need to? It's an ego, and I'm working on that too. I have situations right now that it's.
Well, the ego's job is 100% just to keep you safe.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
anytime it feels like you're not safe, it's going to act out and make you behave that way or trigger these reactions within you. So anytime you're feeling triggered, ask yourself, what in this situation is unsafe? Why do I feel unsafe right now, and how can I bring myself back to safety? And
then
whether that's centering your breath and rebalancing your breath, but doing something in the moment to bring yourself back to safety. One of the really cool responses, or not responses, but like techniques that I just learned to bring yourself out of a trigger, like if you're feeling really, really triggered by somebody in these spaces, and bringing yourself, if you need to bring yourself back to safety, if your ego's like going off, just bring your focus to the back of your spine, like the inside part of your spine and the back of your skull. So if you put focus on the back of your skull and then put focus on your spine and kind of go down vertebrae by vertebrae and just spend a moment breathing and focusing on your spine, it reminds you that you have a back. You have your own back in that moment, and that brings you back to safety. So if you're feeling like your ego is triggered, or you're just having a moment where you're in conversation with somebody, you're feeling unsafe, you're feeling triggered, you're feeling like you need to attack verbally or conversationally, take a step, take a moment to take a deep breath in and bring your focus to the back of your skull and your spine, and remember that you have your own back, and it'll bring you back into that safety. It's a really, really good little practice.
Excuse me 1 second. You can watch that for a sec. You can watch this. Excuse me a second.
I've been practicing this like when I'm not triggered, and it's been really helping me to like kind of get in touch with the sensation of it. And the other day I actually did use it while I was triggered, and it worked really, really, really well. So I tried to do it once without practicing after just hearing about this technique, and I was super triggered, and I was trying to do it, and I couldn't really do it. So to practice bringing your focus there when you're in a calm state helps your automatic responses like be able to be like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing now. So
yeah, it's a new it's a new trauma. We had a
nice
trauma
little
response.
trick to pull you out of your ego.
We're changing the way we respond, or that's how we respond in the past, or it's bringing up a similar emotion from the past. Something, this could go back to our parents, go back to the relationship, it could go back to whatever, just a situation, something stimulated our nervous system to respond. Some kind of trauma, trauma comes in different forms. It's an emotional trauma. It's not, people, though, like, I think anything that causes an intense emotional reaction or heartache or anything, like, I could go back to experience I had when I was, like, in middle school and remember something about a relationship I had or a friend I had, and like it still feels the same right now, right? It's stored like in the body, right? So it's like we have to literally train that we're safe, that we're in the present moment, we're not in that experience, because a lot of it just bringing you back to the old feeling that maybe hasn't been processed of that experience. So it's like reminding yourself, what you said, like connecting you more to your root chakra, your spine, just you're safe. Like the moment you're fine, it just your ego's trying to come in and like protect you, be like, nah, F that. And for me, sometimes it's like wanting to be right, wanting to be in control. I don't feel like I'm in control of a situation, and sometimes that scares me. I've been out of control in a lot of situations in my life. It's sometimes when I don't feel like I have a grasp on the situation, not that I want to control someone else, but like myself, like it just, when I'm free flowing with all this anger or crazy energy, that I'm like, I don't know where it's coming from, and I'm like, oh, I don't feel safe, so it feels better to project it rather than like bring it back to me. I just want to, and if anyone's saying anything that's triggering that, it's like you're snapping, it's like you're almost like you're seeing red or something, that's what it feels like to me. And it's hard to walk away from that. It's hard to respond differently when you're used to responding that way. And and you've seen a lot of people in your life that maybe didn't have the best response to that kind of stuff. So like you're like retraining yourself all over again to be a completely different person. And this goes into ancestral stuff too. This goes to inner child. This goes to, you probably saw your parents interact this kind of way. Maybe you had your dad yell at you when you were a kid. Maybe you have some actual abuse. So I mean, this all like trickles down to other relationships and friendships. And then we attract people with those similar energies too, because if we haven't healed that right. And then there's some people that are here just to like trigger those emotions, and like it can be a lot, but I think awareness is the biggest thing. If you're aware that, hey, I'm feeling this way, just being really in touch with your body. Like I can feel I'm fuming, my head will get hot, my chest tenses, I get the feeling in my stomach, my solar plexus gets it a lot. It's like it's fight or flight. It's like a fight thing for me. I'm not fighting, I'm fighting. Most of the time I'm not like I know there's different responses. Like there's the fawn one where some people freeze up, some people just attack, and I saw a chart that was really good. It showed the different trauma responses, but it's like that nervous system is activated. Yeah, just your nervous system. It's you can tell it's programmed into your nervous system, and that's why we go on social media and stuff, and when we see people really triggered right now, it's like you can tell it's like the reptilian, right? Brain. It's like it thinks it's life's in danger. Well, I wouldn't say life's in danger, but it thinks it's in danger. The ego thinks it's in danger. It's not comfortable. It's not safe. It feels like you want to jump out of your skin kind of shit. It doesn't even feel safe in your own body sometimes. And that's why healing our body is important too, because, if your trauma's in your body, you're not going to feel safe in your body. You're going to want to escape. You're going to want to go do substances. You're going to want to go do things so you don't feel what's like all that. And I think that's a lot of the reason I got into like substance addiction and stuff. Like I didn't want to feel the emotions within me. I just wanted to go. That felt better being high over there, away from my body, than being in my body where all this crazy shit is stored and in my mind.
Easier to leave it than to look at it head on.
Yeah. That's the flight part. See, now I'm in my body, but I'm like, oh shit, there's some things I need to work on. Oh, this feels uncomfortable when I'm in my body, but then I want to like snap instead. Like I don't want to escape so much anymore, but so now how do I respond to this in a healthy way? Go do something healthy instead. And it's like, it's not in my nature really to like be all like, for me, it feels more safer going into my masculine energy. That got me through a lot of stuff like that, but I'm also showing, hey, I can be in my feminine and be safe and be okay. I don't need to be all like, that fighting is like the masculine energy, but I felt safe all through my addiction, all through my past, like that got me through a lot of stuff. So I feel safer in that. So it's for me being safe in my feminine. You can still be in your feminine energy and be safe. I think that's one thing. I think a lot of females on this planet, and we're programmed to be in our masculine energy. We're programmed to hustle, work, like be equal to men.
You're also programmed to think that it's not safe to be female.
Yeah,
it's not supposed to be feminine.
That's a program. You think it's weakness. And of course,
get hurt. Like people are gonna want to hurt you. Take advantage of you, abuse you, like, all that shit. So we're programmed that it's not safe to even be a female. Yeah. And there's a lot of evidence in our society that it's not safe. So it's hard to break away from it when you feel it inside, but then externally there is also evidence of this. And there is evidence that it is safe to be female, but there's a whole lot more evidence that it's not. Whether that's visual, verbal, through media, like through what other people are saying about women's safety, it's a lot, and it gets overwhelming, right? Yeah. So it's to be able to bring yourself back to the reality of I am safe in my femininity. It's that much harder, just because, especially if you're looking at it from a somatic lens, you look at your external reality to see if you are safe.
Yeah.
And to bring yourself into the now moment. But sometimes, you're going to open your eyes and like
your
the next person you go talk to is going to talk about some horrible thing that happened to them just because they're a female. You know what I mean? Or like it doesn't always have to be the case, but with the way that things are, it helps to bring yourself into safety if your environment and around you can prove to you that it is safe. So yeah, it's a hard thing to heal. It can be done. and the little like somatic exercises to bring yourself into your body and to help you release the parts that feel tense and unsafe.
Yeah.
Is really, really helpful in this day and age, especially like, as women trying to get back into their femininity and like release this masculine sort of hold.
Apologies, guys. Sorry about that.
Put on us.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
Remnants of the blue moon.
And what was I saying there? I was going to lead into something.
No, the femininity you were talking about, getting back into your body.
Yeah, getting back into your body. And it's like, I was going to go into a little bit about what you were saying before about like the ancestral work as well. Like, and it kind of plays into like getting into the femininity. I was responding in a very fight reaction as well when it came to people like whenever I would share my ideas, and if anybody had any input or like they wanted to change my idea or like they had anything extra to add, I always just felt like, fuck you. Like, why are you trying to change my shit? Like, is my idea not good enough on its own? And I started to feel really, really inadequate. And I had to figure out where that was coming from, because that in itself, like, I would be in my creative feminine energy and I would go to share my idea and immediately be left feeling inadequate, like my idea sucked, like I'm stupid, like my idea isn't good enough on its own without other people's input. And I was really trying to figure out where that was coming from, because I actually do have a lot of like trauma around these types of things from my childhood.
Yeah.
But then I realized it's deeper, because I was starting to heal this stuff from my childhood, but I was getting even more reactive to these things as I was healing the childhood wounds. And I was like, this has got to be deeper than this.
Way deeper,
and
yeah.
I started looking at ancestral wounding, and it really started making sense when I realized my grandfather fought in World War II on the German side, because in high school in Germany, like when you leave high school, when the World War was happening, or right before the war happened actually, you either went into a trade or you entered the military. So my grandfather entered the military. Within 3 months, World War II started. So right out of high school, he was a soldier in World War II, fighting a cause and fighting and hurting people and ruining people's families and homes and lives on something he didn't believe in. And it didn't matter what he said. And it didn't matter what his ideas was or what his values were. It was, this is what you have to do. And if you don't listen to us, we're going to kill you or we're going to hurt you. And you're just going to be another one of the people that we're putting in these camps. Like, don't disobey us. And your ideas mean nothing. You're doing it this way or no way at all. So I carried that trauma into my life. And it went even deeper than that with my grandfather too, because when the war was over, they were like, walk home. The war's done, okay, walk home. And so he walked for 6 months to get back home, and then they wouldn't let him back in his country, back to his home, because it was now part of Russia. So he walked for 6 months being told the whole time he joined the military, everything's going to be great. We're going to give you a living wage. We're going to, you'll be a military man. You'll be respected in the community. All of the things that the military tells you that are going to happen for your life that don't end up being true, he got told and was basically like, well, now you're going to go kill and hurt a bunch of people that you don't believe in this cause, but you have to do it anyway. And then we're going to tell you that everything's going to be fine. We're going to win this war. They didn't win the war. And then they're like, we don't even have any money to get you home, so you have to walk. So everything that he put all of his time and effort into just abandoned him. And when he got home, it was like, you don't even have a home to come home to. So it was like everyone he had trusted and believed in from the time he left high school let him down. And everything he was told he would get from doing that experience was a lie. So his trust issues were just ridiculous. And now I know where I got that from and why I react so heavily to when people don't want my input or like hear my idea and want to change it. It was like, for him, for my Opa, he never had the opportunity to express himself and his ideas and his values. He had to go with his platoon or die, basically. And I carried that trauma
Excuse
far.
me.
That's okay. And, that was reflecting in situations that were happening to me in elementary school. Like, I would want to put myself out there and be told, no, you can't do it that way. You've got to do it this way. And it was a recurring theme. And going into protective mode to try to create safety for myself was a very masculine experience. I was in fight. I wanted to be proved. I wanted to prove everybody wrong. I wanted to be the right one. I wanted to be the loudest in the room. And if I wasn't right, I just wanted to make sure that I was the one that came out on top. Either you're not talking anymore or I'm over here. And it was like, I couldn't figure out why I used to do that. I couldn't figure out why these two things triggered me so much.
Do you think, so can I ask you quickly on that one? First thing that comes to me, with that ancestral bond, that's where the Akashic records basically come in, I think, in some ways. But with that one, do you believe, like, now that you've come to that conclusion, and do you think like your upbringing enhanced that a lot? Like, say, I'm not sure about your parents and stuff like that, but I just relate things to how I feel, and I think that bringing yourself into that, having that on you, having that burden on you, and then enhanced by the people who are supposed to protect you, or supposed to, break that. I guess break that cycle. Help you break that cycle in some ways. You have to do it yourself. So.
Yeah.
Did that? Oh, yeah. Do you think that? Yeah. Do you think that it was enhanced by when you were young? Because I know if I put myself in that situation, absolutely. If I went back and saw something that, because I saw something that said to me, yeah, you're going to be a people pleaser, bloody butt licker, whatever you want to call it, and you're bloody going to be put down. You're going to be basically stripped of all your personal self-confidence and self-awareness and all that, and basically stripped of yourself and your purpose, and you've got to basically live this enslaved life where you trust someone and they screw you. Do you think that the environment you were brought up in enhanced that in some ways, and now you're realising it? Would that be, if I just say that?
Enhanced it, I would say that it mirrored it. 100% mirrored.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool, yep.
There was no enhancing going on. It was the way my Opa had his power taken away, mine was taken away in the medical system instead. It was, you have to be on these drugs. This is what we're labeling you as now. You're sick for life. You have to be on these drugs. If you're not on these drugs, we're not even going to treat you if you don't want to look at taking these drugs. There's nothing we can do to help you. You're doomed no matter what. You have to listen to us or things are going to be really bad for you. And that was my whole life growing up with arthritis in the hospital. And my mom didn't know what to do, so she just blindly listened to the doctors, not realizing that they were actually not realizing it, but totally hurting me. And they were just doing their jobs. They were doing what the book told them to do. They were being a doctor. They were treating the symptom, which is what their job is. That's the job qualification, to treat the symptom. But I, was not taken in a part of the equation of that. So that, like me saying, this is how my body feels and I don't feel right, was never, my voice was taken away. Like what you were saying, it's like your personality, your purpose is taken away. For me, it was my voice. And the same thing with my Opa, his voice got taken away too. It didn't matter what he thought. It didn't matter that he didn't hate Jews. It didn't matter that he didn't want to kill people. That's what you have to fucking do now, or you're gonna die. And that's what I was told too. This is what you have to do now, or your quality of life is gonna be garbage. So listen to us, or be totally harmed and fail. And that was a recurring theme in my life until I started to do things to take my power back, started to take control back, and really start to look at these traumas and how they were reflecting in my own behavior and how I was treating other people and how I was moving within my environment based on these traumas. And when I started really digging deep into my childhood wounding and realizing there's more here, and this goes back even deeper than what I can access right now, that's when I realized I got to do an ancestral wounding session, and I really got to dig at this from a deeper level, because this is basically my life is reflective of something else. I've carried something with me into this life to bring this into my field. And that's not the case with everybody, but if you're having a really, really deep trauma that you're working through and you're hitting a brick wall and you're not really sure, or all of a sudden it feels like this is like you thought you were at the cusp end of like, I'm just about to finish this and get to the bottom of this trauma, but suddenly it feels like it's getting much, much worse, you may have an ancestral wounding thing to go and explore. I know a lot of the times too with this stuff, shadow work comes up, and when you're getting to the bottom of it, the really heavy stuff kicks up, so that could be a case as well. But if you've worked through it maybe even more than once and you're still hitting a wall, check out the ancestral stuff and see if there's anything there, because it might be an energetic link holding you back.
So we look at all this stuff, guys. So with people who are listening, we got you got ancestral stuff, shadow work, all these kind of things. But all I'll say to you is, I get questions all the time. How do I know what to go for? All I say to you is, you'll be guided into where you need to be. So, like, you have a pile of stuff that you come into. So if you go into the spirit and the universal sort of stuff that you get into, say astrology or whatever it may be, right? What you will find out where you connect. Like, you might take a little bit of stuff, but say, for example, the American Indian spirit cards, that's where I connect. The American Indian culture and the way their spirituality, that's where I connect. That's where I will help myself. What else is, and you just sort of think, the shadow, and also the dark side of the shadow, the dark night of the soul. That's the stuff I connect with. So you'll feel, once you allow yourself to feel where you're at, you'll be able to heal yourself with the tools that they give you, and you'll connect to that tool. So that's what a lot of people have asked me, how did you connect to the shadow? I go, and the dark side, because that's where I connect to. I feel at ease, and I can help people with that. I can enhance it. I know what I'm doing. You're talking about, even basic universal laws. That's where I connect to. Say grounding. You're talking about basic rules of life. Be humble. Control the ego. All those kind of things. So you got basic laws. I connect to that. Whereas some people connect to crystals. Some people connect to astrology fully. They totally live their life through their astrological chart. No problem with that. And then you come into stuff like ancestral, or however you want to put it, ancestral. I don't know how you put it, but whatever you want to put it, past life regression, all those kind of things. So, just a little bit of a note, guys and girls out there, that you will, if you get into it, don't feel you're going to get it straight away. Just walk into it, and you will feel, and you'll be drawn that way, and accept where you're being drawn. That's how I wanted to express that today. And even affirmations, basic affirmations. Sorry to cut you off. Basic affirmations I've got up here. I write the affirmations out. That's what I've got up here. You will develop your own set of responses and back belt of gifts, as I call it. And you will be accessible to everything. So you might say, I might use a little bit of crystal stuff, but I'd rather write out my affirmations, and that's where I work at. So yeah, just needed to say that.
That makes a lot of sense. I will say though, for people who are exploring different modalities, different practitioners, when you are, and this is a little bit of a warning, and I'm speaking from experience here, a very, very good friend of mine ended up with a very severe entity attachment. And this came from basically she was using too many modalities at once. And what happens is if you are putting your energy into too many modalities and too many trainings and too many sources all at once, you're splitting your own focus. And you are also, when you're working with these practitioners, every time you work with them, you're courting into them just a little bit more. So be very careful when you're starting out. Choose something that feels good or that's been in your field for a while, that's like calling to you. Pick that and run with it. If you want to add your affirmations to it, cool. But if you're working with practitioners and you're learning a new practice, stick with it until you really, really understand the practice, and then step out and add to it with something else.
Yeah,
Don't
makes
try
sense.
to do everything at once, because you
Yeah.
can literally experience spiritual psychosis, and
I felt
too
that,
much
yeah,
of your
yeah.
energy gets spread out. And when that happens, you are more open for dark energies to come in, and you have way more open cords, open attachments out to different places that are basically creating little mini superhighways for these energies to come and attach to you. And if you are working with a bunch of practitioners, say, that are just starting out or just training, that don't fully have their grounding or their lower three energy centers like in balance, that can leave the door open for negative entities to come in that much more. So just be really, really careful, guys, when you're exploring this. I'm not trying to discourage anybody. I really want you guys to explore what the techniques and practices and practitioners that feel good for you. But try to keep it simple. If you're working with a practitioner, do one at a time, maybe two if they feel like they align really well together. And then, do your meditations or your affirmations by yourself if that feels right. But don't try to do like tantra work with somatic work, with breath work, with Reiki, with quantum healing, quantum jumping, all of these different things all at once, because that's where you get into trouble.
That's
So
funny
Two
you
things.
said. Oh, go ahead.
try to reel it in a little bit. If you're just learning out, I know it gets really exciting if you want to learn it all right now, but go at a slow pace and just take in what you can, one or two things at a time, and try to make sure if you are taking on two things that they really are aligned together and they work together. So yeah, that's my best advice.
Put it this way. I'd go even one step even further. If you really wanted to start out, there's nothing like writing out some basic goals and changing, you go, I am this, I am that, and then listening to a basic meditation. And also, there's nothing wrong with looking at information. It's how, if you're looking at information, for example, now I've worked out personally in the last couple of weeks regarding the way the universe gives us messages. It gives you through, I know myself because I've done the work and all that gives me messages through maybe certain body ailments that might happen within there. So I've studied that, but it took me a while to do it. It's connecting with spirits and your guides. Now I know I can call in whoever I want to call in. I can call in medicines. I can call in particular individuals. Now I only just realised that now. Now I've been doing this for years, but I just only woke up to it. So Sarah's exactly right. But what I will say is there's nothing wrong with opening your mind to some information only. And then you go, oh, okay, this resonates with me and all that. Because I know, and you're exactly right, people go, oh, I'm going to get excited, I'm going to go and do this and this and this and this. Now, stuff that for a joke, right? And we all get excited, but it's like I'm meeting a new friend or having a new lover or whatever it may be. We have those endorphins going through. Once the endorphins go down, that's when the real work starts. Yeah. So now 3 of us have done what we do. I know Diana is right into the astrology stuff. She does some wonderful so many wonderful things with regards to astrology and universal laws. Sarah does a lot with intuitive healing. Okay. Does so much great work. We've done some sessions. She's done a wonderful job with me. She's helped me out. With myself, I do the animal spirit cards. I know I can call in guides. I do universal laws, okay, and obviously holistic energy healing as well. So that's where we're at with those kinds, and obviously working with the shadows. So I work with those. But we've done that work. We've done the work for years, ladies and gentlemen. So and we can guide you to professionals. I used the actual professional psych as well. So I had that holistic psych that I work with. So Stara is exactly right. Go and investigate and come to people, talk to people, and don't do too much to it. It's like eating too much junk food. You get to overload and you got to spew it up.
I had an experience actually kind of similar to that. That's funny you say it, because when I was first getting into all the spiritual stuff, I went to rehab and stuff, and I was kind of going my addictions into healing then. So instead of substances, so I started getting Reiki done, I started getting past life regressions, all these things done, and the Akashic record, and all, I'm not saying they were all bad or anything, but Jackie did, when I did my Akashic record reading, she said there were 7 portals I had open. So some kind of past life regression I did with someone else, and I think I know who it is. I was supposedly, they weren't closed, the person wasn't well trained enough, and I was doing kind of practice sessions with people. You remember in the full-time purpose, right? Some people want to do practice sessions, they're just learning, and I'm not saying they have bad intentions or anything, but there is someone in particular who, she said your energy is so scattered. She said you have 7 different portals open from different past lives. So you're basically in the astral. I'm going between all these past lives. They're not closed. So she's like, because I was like, I do feel kind of draining. So she had to do a thing for me to close it. And I was like, what the hell? How's that even happen? I was like, so what am I doing in the astral? I'm just going to imagine myself going to like different, I'm like, I could just imagine. That was kind of funny to think about that. But I was like, what? But so even these people that are doing this stuff, and sometimes they'll give you a free session, right? They want to do a practice session, but man, you're opening your energy up, and right now I think especially with everything that's going on, like you don't know what you're opening yourself up to, and a lot of times it's exciting, it's fun, of course it's fun, and you want to do healing stuff, but man, we have to be mindful of, even you're doing Reiki, you're getting your energy open up, you're letting someone touch your energy field. Solomon told me, don't let a lot of people get close to your third eye and stuff, but even my Reiki, I'm very mindful who I'm getting my Reiki done. I don't have many people, just very limited.
Reiki is one of those practices too, especially in this day and age. You have to be very careful choosing a Reiki practitioner. My best advice, if you're looking for a Reiki practitioner, ask them what their lineage is. If they cannot tell you, do not book with them. If they cannot tell you, that means that they took an online course that took them 2 days to finish, maybe 4, and now they're saying that they're a Reiki practitioner, but they have not once entered a class with a hands-on practitioner present to attune them. They have been attuned online with someone sending the energy through a computer screen. It is a completely different and is so non-traditional. It's actually the people who created Usui Reiki or the man who created Usui Reiki would be spinning in his grave if he knew what people were doing with his practice right now, because the training is serious to be an Usui Reiki master. And most people nowadays are going online for 4 days and doing an online thing. They're never once speaking to the practitioner. They're whizzing through the program and they're calling themselves a Reiki master, but they have never been personally attuned. These people can be very dangerous practitioners. So I'm sorry to anybody who's listening that did go through their Reiki practice like this. In my humble opinion, that is not professional Reiki, and you cannot call yourself a master unless you've physically worked person to person with a master in training and been attuned. If you haven't, please don't call yourself a Reiki master, and go find training with someone in your area that can help you. And ask that trainer what their lineage is, so that you know that you're working with someone who's working on a professional level. Because the training of the lineage will actually tell you from Usui himself how many people removed who Usui trained, who was trained by him, who was trained by him, who then trained you. That's what a lineage is in energetic healing practices and Reiki practices. So if you're going to choose Reiki as your primary source of healing, especially in this day and age, guys, please ask your master what their lineage is. They can't tell you, don't book a session. Just don't. It can open up things like what happened with Diana, where she had open portals and was feeling drained. It can happen with what happened with my other friend out in Spain.
Can even go into psychic and stuff. Yeah,
stuck with an entity attachment.
Yeah, like
So-
psychics. Yeah, or even tarot readers. I mean, we can go into a lot of different things. Your open energy portals, and I mean, I'm working on
Alcoholism, drugs,
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you don't know
Go
what
on.
anyone's opening up. Like, you don't know what they're.
Yeah,
and
you
I'm not
have
saying it's
no-
always bad intentionally, but I guess I'm kind of learning that because I'm messing with
Most-
the tarot a little bit now, and I'm still learning. You know, he's teaching me some stuff, and I'm starting to become more aware of. Even be careful, even doing with
Yeah.
that sometimes.
And I'm not saying that people that are doing this have bad intentions. Most
Yeah.
of the people who have taken these
Just
online
not aware,
classes
maybe.
and
Yeah.
are calling themselves Reiki masters, they have very good intentions and they just want to help people heal. But if you have not had one-on-one training, you don't understand the ins and outs of how to close down a session properly. You don't understand the ins and outs of what type of energy you're opening up, because you're just doing it by the book. You can't even ask your practitioner any questions.
Yeah.
You're just whizzing through a couple of PDFs and a few videos and calling yourself a Reiki master. It's not safe for the people who are exchanging energy with you. So I would encourage those practitioners who did take the class this way to please go check out other options to get like hands-on training, because I know you guys do want to help people and you have good intentions, but what you're doing can actually hurt people.
I did an online one too, and I've been called to kind of do one in person now. I got an attunement and everything. It was from a Reiki master. I trust everything, and it was online. I felt the energy even when I went to get my Reiki session done with someone different. She said she saw the Reiki energy inside of me, but for me, I won't feel comfortable. I only did level 1 anyway, just doing an online course and doing the video, because I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't enough. Like, I feel like I didn't get the full. And not that she wasn't good and everything. Just I wanted to do the in person and maybe get, I guess, an in person to me. I felt drawn to do that, not even knowing what you just said. I just but I see a lot of people do that, and but that was just a level 1. But still, I still don't feel that it'd be. I think it'd be a lot different if I went like in a class or in person somehow. Yeah.
And part
Hey
of
guys,
this
I've got
too
to
is-
make a move. I've got to
Okay.
make a move. I'll say goodbye. Let you guys keep going.
Yeah, I just want to quickly finish off what I was saying there, because
Yeah, we
But-
can get going. Yeah, we can just close off what you're saying and then
You guys keep going. I was saying, you can keep going.
He has to go. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, you
All
guys
right.
keep going there. I will chop. Guys, take care. I'll see you next week. We'll go from there. Take care, guys.
All right.
Rock out always.
Right.
There ya.
Yeah. So what I was saying there, yeah, with the Reiki, I actually I had my level 1 attuned in person with a Reiki master who was 3 removed from Usui, and that was a very amazing practice, and it was a really, really good, enriched, fully embodied practice and training course. And I moved away before finishing my level 2 through master, and I lost contact with that teacher for quite a while, and I wanted to get back into it, and I started exploring some online courses, because I was like, oh, this could be a good way to do it. And just like what you said, right, like it felt, I did my level 2 through master, but I realized I'm like, this definitely is not the same. And I don't feel comfortable calling myself a master learning this, because I did experience level 1 in person, and the drastic difference between the online attunements and the attunements that I was getting in person, and the drastic difference between the ability to even be able to like talk about what you're feeling is so important for the training, and so that you can get an understanding of what it is you're learning and what it is you're feeling. And it's really, really important. So yeah, it's from somebody who has the experience doing both. I refuse to call myself a Reiki master with doing my last portion of it online. Like I will not do it, because I know that will not qualify me. It doesn't feel right, and yeah, I couldn't. The guy online did tell me what his lineage was. And he was fairly, he had a very similar lineage to my other master, but I still didn't feel right calling myself a master doing an online program. It just does not give you the same level of training experience as you get in person.
Exactly,
and I feel with something as intense as Reiki, you really do need that level of training. You should not be doing that as an online program.
But and then people are offering that, people you think they're experiencing that, and they are, maybe they don't know, or maybe we don't know how like they're. So I think it's good. Yeah, it's good to be aware of these things. And I mean, anything, you're opening up your energy to something higher, anything in any form, whether it's Reiki, whether it's, whatever, divination tools, even going into meditation. I was thinking before I did a meditation today, I was like, man, I remember Sarah said to protect my energy before I go in. Like, I'm not saying I'll get all crazy worried, but like, I was just thinking, man, like, sometimes you think the response you're getting, channeling or whatever you're doing isn't always it. So just really having that discernment, really getting in touch with yourself and what feels right to you, I think is important for any of these things you're doing, and not doing too much overwhelming. I agree with what you said, because at first I was all excited to go with different kinds of healing. I was like, oh, I have so much healing to do for my addiction. Oh my gosh, I have to make up. So I was let's do past life regressions, let's do Akashic record, let's do Reiki, let's do this, it was good, but it was a lot. And then I went down a bunch of rabbit holes, and then and it's like, oh shit, like what do I need to work on? Then it's kind of, you can go into psychosis, and then you're thinking about past lives and stuff, and then you learn about that, and then if you find out some stuff like that's kind of overwhelming, and then you're shaking up all this energy in your body when you first get Reiki, right? And the Akashic record, I haven't felt something like that. Past life regression, it's a lot. So it can be, I can see why people go in spiritual psychosis. I felt like I was going in a little bit. I had to ground myself. I'm like, okay, well, even if this is true, like, what's relevant for me right now? What do I need to work on right now? I can't heal all this shit overnight, or work on whatever that, maybe not even in one lifetime, but just becoming aware of stuff. And now I look back at some of the people I got some of those different sessions done with, or, or they were, some of them I look back at them, I'm like, I don't know if I really trust. I don't know if some of this is true. Like, maybe it resonated with me at the time, but I don't, some of it I have a question mark, and there's a lot of people that take advantage of people that are trying to heal themselves, and they can and just get into spirituality, and everything sounds all magical and shit, and a lot of people take advantage of people like that too, and they see that people are desperate for healing, and especially been through a lot of trauma, you can be looking for some kind of spirituality to kind of take you right, to kind of escape, as a form of escapism from your body and your experience. So like it can be tough. You got to be very mindful on who you choose, whoever you like. Just because I Google and I see someone's a Reiki practitioner in my area doesn't mean I need to go to, I'm gonna go on the website, I'm gonna look at them, maybe even go there in person, or whatever you're getting done. You're going to a psychic, whatever you're doing, I just think just be mindful, man. Like do some research on it, and protect your energy. I think it's important at this time.
Yeah, it's super important.
If something feels off, it's okay to cancel a session. It's okay if it's better to cancel something, get even if there's no refund policy or something, like, than having your energy like mess with, in a bad way.
As a practitioner, I would much rather somebody approach me and let me know that they're suddenly feeling uncomfortable or something feels off, even if they can't explain to me what feels off or why they're uncomfortable. Just let me know, because I would much rather cancel the session and make sure there's comfort and safety there than force somebody to do something they're uncomfortable with and have a discordant energy be brought up that could potentially re-traumatize the person.
They can I think it's true.
Or send them into a spiral just because
or psychosis,
we're forcing energy onto them that they're really not wanting, but they weren't able to voice it. I would much rather have my client say, hey, something feels off, I need to cancel, than to jump into something that, could create disharmony for them. I would much rather that. And I'm never going to feel upset if somebody suddenly cancels, even if it's 5 minutes before. If you feel uncomfortable, you feel uncomfortable. So, that's another thing too, guys. Like, don't ever feel like, if you do feel uncomfortable, if you have a session with somebody else and you're ready to go and you're walking out the door and all of a sudden something tells you not to go, pick up the phone
your intuition, man.
That voice. Listen.
You gotta go with your intuition. It's your body's responding, or you feel like uneasy. Sometimes we all get nervous, excited. Sometimes even before I go to a session, but sometimes it's because I'm about to get some work done. I know it's the next step of my healing, but sometimes you get a bad feeling. So just follow your intuition, man. You just have to really go within on this stuff.
Yeah. But for most practitioners, if you let them know, hey, I'm feeling uncomfortable, usually they will be patient with you. They should,
and they're a healer.
They'll discuss it with you, like to either create safety with you or for you, or they'll just allow you to go off and do your thing.
It shouldn't be a thing.
Pushback from that type of thing, if you
Yeah.
do mention, hey, I feel unsafe, and you get pushback, then you know that's definitely not the practitioner for you, because the only practitioner who will give you pushback as a client who says they're uncomfortable is a practitioner who hasn't balanced their lower 3 energy centers, and they're coming at you now from a place of trauma.
Yeah.
And you don't want a trauma response in the person that you're exchanging energy with on that level for healing.
Yeah.
So watch that as well. If you need to cancel to create safety for yourself and they meet you with anything but curiosity and compassion, that's not the practitioner for you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That should be respected. I mean, that's a healer, and that should be that should be something that's understood. And if they have a bad response, that should tell you something. So.
Yeah. I was recently met with that, so it's it was a reality check for sure.
Yeah.
But,
All right, I think we can sign off. I think we're if you want to do a closing, if you want, or I can do one.
Yeah, we can close out. So thank you to everybody who watched this episode. If you enjoyed it, please give us a comment or a like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channels if you haven't already. And thanking Diana and Jay for coming together today, having this awesome chat. If it's okay with you, Diana, I'd like to share something that I'm doing right now.
Yeah, sure, of course.
If anybody is interested, I am doing $50 intuitive healing sessions right now. I'm thinking I'll end it on September 25th, but there is a part of me who wants to just make this a regular price for my intuitive readings. These intuitive readings are based on my 5 clear senses and my oracle cards, and tapping in with you, the client's higher self. So to get you the information that you need, whether you're going through a struggle or you are looking for direction and purpose in what you're going through, an intuitive reading session can really help you out with that. So if you want to book, there's a book now session button on my Instagram page at Big Soul Healing. So yeah, that's my little plug.
She's had good healing sessions. I've had, I did have a session done with her. We did something interesting, different. She kind of makes it personal to like what you're going through, so it's cool. Yeah. With the intuitive reads, it's very much like you guys ask a question, and between my intuition, my clairsenses, and the oracle cards, we help you find an answer. So hopefully those answers will help you get what you need and get you back on track. So yeah. So it's kind of like what we do in a big soul session, but a little bit more, a little simpler. Yeah. There's big soul sessions too that like go deep dive, and those are like up to 2 hours long, and those are $150. But the little book now button will just take you straight to the $50 intuitive reading special. Nice. Cool. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, what's going on? But anyway, that's my little plug, and this is our show. Are we life theories today, or are we? This is a life theory. So yeah, guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share. I usually leave a comment in this. I usually leave a comment in this. Oh, I can't talk today. Comment section. I usually leave a question in the comment section for discussion. So like on the topics that we talked about. I know we go deep in a lot of things. So check it out, and tune in for more life theories. And we're hitting our 50th episode soon, so we might be doing something special for that. And that'll be the next episode, right? Yeah, it will be. Yeah. Sweet. So guys, protect your energy, follow your intuition, stay in your heart space, and just keep healing and improving yourself. And that's it. Yeah. All right. I guess we're signing off. Life theories. Bye, guys. Have a good one. What's up, guys?